This morning, new questions about the source of the coronavirus pandemic as a laboratory in Wuhan, China, finally breaks its silence. The Wuhan Institute of Virology telling Chinese state television the facility was not the source of the outbreak.
I can tell you for sure that none of our students, retirees, or any of our staff has been infected.
For weeks, the Trump administration has been raising questions about whether the virus accidentally emerged from a laboratory and not a food market, as Chinese officials had claimed.
So let's see what happens with their investigation, but we're doing investigations also.
The Secretary of Defense telling Savannah,
I find it hard to trust much of what comes out of the Chinese Communist Party.
Wuhan is home to a number of organizations studying coronaviruses, which can often be found in bats. This video, posted by Chinese state media last year, shows a Wuhan CDC scientist collecting samples from bats for experiments. That researcher's laboratory, less than 400 yards from the market where the coronavirus allegedly began. In February, a Chinese university study seen by NBC News reported incidents of a Wuhan CDC scientist exposed to potential viral infection from bats. That study has since been removed from the university website, the author claiming he lacked evidence. Close by, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which was among the first to receive patient samples of the virus last December and worked with other Chinese labs to map the genetic sequence. But since the coronavirus outbreak, multiple pages from its website have also been deleted, including one that describes the work of a world-renowned scientist, Dr. Shizheng Li, known to many as Batwoman, studying cross-species infection, it says, such as SARS coronavirus. I swear on my life it has nothing to do with our laboratory, she told Chinese media in February. A respected scientist from Galveston National Laboratory in Texas, who has visited Wuhan many times, telling us, I can say with certainty that there are world-class scientists working at the Wuhan Institute of Virology and that the facilities I have seen are on par with leading labs globally. Most scientists agree the coronavirus was not manufactured in a lab, but
there certainly is a possibility that the pandemic resulted from safety lapses at a lab. What I would like to see is a more international approach, a more international investigation.
Keir, how is the U.S. dealing with these accusations against China?
Well, Savannah, current and former U.S. intelligence officials do tell NBC News that the U.S. intelligence community is investigating whether this coronavirus did leak from a laboratory that was studying viruses in bats. In the end, we may never know either way, Savannah, but many governments now around the world questioning China's transparency and openness. And in a sense, those allegations may do as much damage to the Chinese Communist Party. Meanwhile, we did ask the Chinese ambassador to Washington and the Wuhan Institute of Virology for a comment about these pages, Savannah. We haven't heard back. Savannah?
All right. Keir Simmons, thank you.